Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Ignace Aleya from ToleratedCinematics.com and today it's the first Motion Graphic Mondays. If you enjoy my videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to make sure that you get notified when I upload new videos. Alright, so today I will be talking about something really cool. We're going to be creating a really simple and clean audio spectrum in Adobe After Effects. Many of you want to know how it's created. We're going to create something awesome. It's going to be a two-part tutorial, but first, let's see the preview. Doesn't that look cool? So today we're going to take a look on how to create everything in general, so the basic setup of the titles, the audio spectrum, the background, and stuff like that. And then in the next part we're going to take a look on how to add fine details like in the background, the particles, and things like that. So I would suggest that if you don't wish to follow this tutorial, you can always go ahead on our website and buy this template. It also helps to support the channel. So if you enjoy this tutorial, go and check out our website. We have a bunch to offer. So all the links will be in the description. The template actually includes a simple to follow tutorial where you can adjust everything like the colors and stuff like that. Everything is optimized, so it's a little bit more advanced than what we're going to be seeing in this tutorial. Just so you know. Anyone that has any kind of experience in Adobe After Effects can follow this tutorial. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so here we are in Adobe After Effects, and I actually prepared a few things that I already imported right here. So first of all is a music file, which will everyone need if you want to use an audio spectrum. The audio actually comes from Levito Beats. He's a great friend of mine, and he actually runs his own channel where we collaborate on frequent basis. So go and check it out. He creates some really awesome beats, and if you want to use them, you can actually use them for free in return that you credit him in descriptions or even in your video if you're that kind of nice guy. So go ahead, links will be in the description. And then I also have this image right here, which I actually took when I was on a vacation in Spain. This is Benidorm, so yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So I created a new composition. We can actually delete this so we can get started. Create a new composition, and this is going to be our main composition. Make it full HD in resolution and 30 frames long. Make it as long as you want to, and then click OK. Then the first thing that you want to do is just drag in your audio file in that composition. You can actually see that our composition is a little bit too long, so we'll just drag it right over here. Press N on the keyboard and trim come to work area. Okay, and then once you've done that, we can actually apply our image right here to our composition. And as you can see, our image is a little bit too big. So what we'll do is press S on the keyboard and just scale this down like this right here. Okay, perfect. A little bit bigger, and there we go. So we have our image. Now what I want to do is kind of stylize my image a little bit more, make it more like a music kind of vibe, like Spotify likes to do, like a duotone effect. And what we'll do is actually use a pretty cool effect, and this is called colorama. So we'll create a new adjustment layer right here, and this is going to be our grading and our exposure. Okay. So first of all, we want to fade in our image. So we'll go to Effects, Color Correction, and apply a exposure effect to our image. And then just lower the exposure until you don't see anything anymore. Like this, and click on the stopwatch for the exposure to create a keyframe. You can now press U on the keyboard to reveal that keyframe right here. And then if we're going to move a little bit more in time, we actually want to zoom into our timeline a little bit. So we have a nice close-up, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Like over 3 seconds, we want to kind of fade it in back to 0. Then 3 frames forward, I'm doing that with the page down key on my keyboard. You can move ahead and just decrease it a little bit, move 3 frames forward again, increase it a little bit, maybe this is a little bit too much, 4 frames, a little bit less, and then a few frames forward, and then zero this out, and maybe a little bit less than 0, because we actually want to work with text, which will be white in the audio spectrum, so we want to kind of de-expose our background a little bit, so everything is going to be a little bit easier to read afterwards. Perfect. Okay, now for the grading, and this is on the same layer, we're going to apply the effect color correction and colorama. And this is actually a really cool effect. You can do a lot of cool things with this. But we want to open up the output cycle right here and just delete everything in here for the colors. And then for the red, we want to change that red color to a nice dark blue. Okay, click OK. Then we're going to click over here and go to the pink color and just create a nice pink color. And we're going to close this like this. And actually, instead of pink, let's go for something a little bit warmer, maybe more towards this color. And the blue can be even darker. Okay, pretty cool. So this really creates something kind of creative. It doesn't work with every image, but if you use like people, you can do some really cool things. It's really important that you kind of change or shift the colors a little bit more. So maybe a little bit of blue here that we can add in right over here and maybe darken it a little bit more. There we go. And then right here, maybe a nice kind of tinted orange. Let's see. Beautiful. Look at that, boys and girls. Isn't that beautiful? So it's so simple to create something really cool with Colorama. You can, of course, go ahead and do that in Photoshop. Yeah, we're in After Effects now, and this is really simple to create. Okay, so we can close everything. And now what we want to do is create our audio spectrum. So we'll right-click and create a new solid layer. Rename this to Audio Spectrum. Click OK. And then we're going to go, Effect, Generate Audio Spectrum. For the color for the audio spectrum, we'll change this to white so we can actually see it clear. Right here we can actually see it already. The softness, we can set this back to 0. Well, set this to 0. The frequency bands, we'll change this to 175. And now what we want to do is go to our audio layer and select our source, which is the audio that we already added to our timeline, Livedo Waves. It's really important that you already have it in your timeline, otherwise it's not gonna work. Then for the side options, we're going to work with side A, and that's going to choose the top part. And yeah, perfect. So let's see how that actually looks. We can actually see that, well, if we go a little bit more in time, in the beginning, I think this is a little bit too high. It kind of peaks up a little bit, and I don't think that fits in my audio spectrum. So what I will do is hold Control and just drag the start frequency a little bit more to the right. The reason why I'm holding Control is it affects it a lot slower, because if I'm going to hover it, immediately hits 1000 with Control, it's going to move a little bit slower. Actually, Shift is going to do the opposite thing, where it actually is going to move a lot faster. Then for the end frequency, something like 1500. And there we go. So now we have the nice animation of our audio. You can also go for the maximum height and increase it a little bit if you want. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now what we want to do is actually move the start point and the end point a little bit more to the bottom, so it actually is right here. But as you can see, we have to move them individually, which I don't want to do. So I will do a quick solution and create a new null object, and then just hit the return key. This is going to be our position Y for the spectrum. So this is just a reference. We're going to press P on the keyboard to reveal the position for this one, and then click on the audio spectrum. Before we continue this video, I would like to present you our website designed for filmmakers and video editors to improve their workflow. We offer templates, presets, high-quality pre-made packs, soundscapes, essential graphics, and much more. If you don't have time to create something of your own, or you just want to speed up your workflow, definitely check out our website with the link in the description below. And we're going to hold Alt and click on the stopwatch for the position of the start point. So Alt click on the stopwatch right here. And then we're going to open the brackets. We're going to write a simple expression and enter value, open brackets, 0, close brackets, comma. And now we want to just pick our Y position of the null, and then we want to close our bracket again. So really simple expression, open bracket value, open bracket 0, close bracket, comma, pick whip, the Y position, not the null itself, but the Y position of null, and then close the bracket. We want to copy this code, so Control C, and just hold Alt and click on the stopwatch for the endpoint and paste it also right here. And now what we can do actually is click on that null, and we can actually reposition this very easily like this. For the audio spectrum, I want to go back here, and the start point for the X, I'm going to move it a little bit more to the right, because on the left side, we're going to add our timecode. So for the timecode, I'm going to click on my text tool, click over here, and add a few zeros like this, and then just select your text and make it a little bit smaller if you want to, maybe irregular or medium text. And now we have our timecode. And for the timecode, we'll also need a little bit of a expression, which I actually already prepared for you guys. You can download that also with the link in the description. It's just a bunch of text that you need to paste in the right position. So I already have it copied in the background. So what I will do is click on this arrow right here, open the arrow for the text, hold Alt and click on the stopwatch for the source text and paste the expression right here. Now we can actually see immediately it works with seconds and minutes. Yeah, perfect. So just paste it and you don't need to worry about a thing about code or whatever. So you can reposition this, and there you go. Very simple. Okay, and now we want to add our title also. So this will be the beat player, and we want to make this bold and a little bit bigger. And position it maybe right here. And then we want to duplicate this text layer by holding Ctrl and pressing D on the keyboard, and then move it a little bit more down. Go to the text tool, select all of our text. And now this is going to be Livido Waves, which is the actual name of the song. Select it and change it to a regular and a little bit smaller. So we have a little bit of variation going on. Maybe also make it a little bit wider like this. And there we go. Okay, we also want to add like a nice vignette on the sides here. So right click, new, and add an adjustment layer, and this is going to be our vignette. So we will rename this very quickly and go to Effect, Color Correction, Curves, and just lower the curves so it darkens everything. Go to the mask options here, ellipse tool, and double click on the ellipse tool. That's going to add an ellipse right here. Subtract it from the mask. And then press F on the keyboard and just increase the feather until it's a nice soft blur. And as you can see right here, this looks really cool. We can actually put this below the grading, and this is going to give us a different kind of effect. It depends on what you want. I think this looks pretty cool. Yeah. Now we want to animate our text in right here. So we'll go to the beginning of our timeline and press T on the keyboard, click on the opacity, set it to 0, and over 5 seconds, or actually over, let's say, 2 seconds, we want to change this back to 100. Okay, then we'll go to animation, and just to add a little bit of variation, we're going to animate text, also opacity, and we're going to do the exactly same thing, so 0. And then 5 seconds, 100%. And this is going to be a different kind of opacity. But we can actually manipulate this with something different. Right here, you actually see an arrow. If we click on this, we can go for a selector and add a wiggly effect to it. And this is going to wiggle our text a little bit. As you can see, it wiggles on like so. Pretty cool. Select all of these keyframes, Ctrl C to copy them, go to the beginning of the timeline and click on the beat player and just paste it as well. And now we have this kind of animation. We want to offset our Livido a little bit, so it actually comes in, beat player first, and then Livido comes in after there. Okay, perfect. Now we want to add our logo, so let's go back to our project manager and import our logo to the composition. Go to Align and center it right here. Press P on the keyboard and click on the stopwatch for the position and go all the way till the beginning and actually move down like this move 2 seconds as well, and then right click, reset the position, so we actually have this kind of animation. And it has to be straight, and that's actually the point, going straight up like this. Press T on the keyboard, and we're going to click on the stopwatch for the opacity right here, and in the beginning, set the opacity to 0, press U on the keyboard to reveal all these keyframes, and line them up like this. Select the last keyframes, and here we're actually going to add a nice easy in, which is actually going to soften the animation. So go to Keyframe Assistance, Easy Ease, and go to the graph editor right here. Zoom in a little bit, make sure that you're working with the edit speed graph, and we want to drag this in like so. So now it's going to speed up and then slowly come to a stop like this. And actually we want to do it a little bit faster. But that way you have a nice pop effect on our logo, which is pretty cool. For the background, I actually want to fade it in a little bit faster, so let's go to our exposure keyframes, which is here in the grading and exposure, and we want to just drag this in a little bit. Okay, here we have an overexposure. I actually will set this back to 0. And of course, if you press U on the keyboard for keyframes in particular, you can select all keyframes, hold Alt and drag them in to make them a little bit faster if you want to. So that's an easy way to kind of tuck it in all together. And cool. Okay, so I will reposition my titles a little bit better, closer to the spectrum. But that's basically it on how to create the basic setup of the audio spectrum. We also need one more layer, and this is going to be a solid layer. This is going to be our stroke. And here, if we go to Effects and Presets, we can apply our stroke to that solid layer that we just created. As you can see, you need a path. So what we'll do is just uncheck this layer, go to the pen tool, click over here, and click over here, holding Shift. So now we have a nice line and a mask, and if we go back to our stroke, we can now select that mask right here. So if we're going to check this back on, solo the layer maybe, we can actually go here to the paint style and change this to on transparent, and now you're going to see a nice line right here, which you can make thicker if you want to, but I won't do that. So at the beginning of your keyframes, well, the timeline, we want to go to the start and set this to 50, and the end also to 50, and click on the stopwatch for the start and end. Then at 1 second, or plus minus 1 second, we want to change this to 0 and this to 100, and now we're going to have like a nice grow effect from the center out. Press U on the keyboard, select the last keyframes, and again apply the Easy Ease effect. Go to the graph editor and maybe ramp it a little bit. So if we zoom in here, we have something like this going on, and this is going to be our beat player startup. Okay, as you can see, it's not perfect for the mask, so what we'll do is zoom in and click on the mask and actually move it down a little bit. And there we go. Okay, another thing that we want to do is actually fade in our actual audio spectrum and our text here. So click on the audio spectrum layer, go to the text, go to the timecode and press T on the keyboard, change it to 0, go to the beginning and create a keyframe for both of these layers. And then right here, we want to fade it in at 100%. And this is fading in while this line is now growing, and now it's really going to attract its kind of effect. Okay, I think we're done here. Apart from that, we can just duplicate this audio spectrum and press S on the keyboard and change the size to something like insanely high, something like 500, and then move it up until we actually see our spectrum again. Then move it in a nice composition and press T on the keyboard, change this to 50 at the last opacity when it's faded in right here. Instead of 100, change it to 50. Then go to Effects, Blur and Sharpen, Gaussian Blur, and increase the blur. So now it's like out of focus. We still have something going on in the background. Okay, pretty cool. And that's it. So this is the first tutorial on how to create a nice audio spectrum. Next week, we're going to take a look on all the particles, like I said in the beginning of this video. If you want, you can go ahead on our website. We have the template ready to use. You can easily change the colors and stuff like that. So it's all prepared to be user-friendly. It includes a tutorial on how to change everything. Link is in the description, and I'll see you in the next one. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.